welcome back to my channel. Sorry for that abrupt stop of my intro. If you are joining me live, make sure you smash that like. If you are joining me later, make sure you smash that like. Tonight, we are going to be diving into this Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. I have been immersed in it, watching it nonstop. Court TV, also watching some of my favorite YouTubers cover it. I watch Emily D. Baker, the wonderful lawyer that has been covering it. She'll stream it all day and then give her lawyery opinions on it. I apologize in advance. I may have to step away for a second. I have my friend is on her way over, and I thought she was going to get here by now or get here an hour into my stream. So I might have to step away, but I'll put up some little music and a picture for you guys when I do step away. If you want to support the channel, liking this video and commenting is a great way. I want to hear your thoughts in the chat, okay? Because I'm so immersed. Now remember, I'm a comedian, so I look at everything from a comedic standpoint. I'll find humor in things that might seem tragic to some people, but I think a lot of you get that about me. You understand it. So we can have some fun with a situation that's not always fun. However, there are some real characters that have come out of this case, this trial. This has been something that has been in the news for years, something I definitely didn't want to touch at first because you're dealing, with alleged DV, you're dealing with relationship issues. It can be triggering, so trigger warning. I think we've all been in some kind of toxic relationship, and this has triggered something probably in everyone. All right. Thank you, Shan, for the first super chat of the night. Appreciate you. So glad we're talking about this mess. Yes. And Jamila, you're right. This trial is cray. Okay. So let's get right into it. Let me open up. I got a Johnny Depp folder here. All right. So every day, this trial is going to, I think they said it's going to last possibly 6 weeks. So right now, this week, we're heavily focused on getting Johnny's side of the story. So Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were married. They met on the set of, obviously, I'm a comedian, so not everything's going to be, if you want the facts, you're going to have to go to like the Emily D. Bakers and stuff. But this is just me as a viewer like you guys and us talking about it. So let me know all your thoughts, okay? Even if we don't agree, it's okay. All right. So Johnny Depp and Amber Heard met on the set of the movie based on the Hunter S. Thompson novel. And I never saw the movie, but she was auditioning for it. So he's like sharing the background of how he met this woman and how they are in the situation they are today. Okay. Now, mind you, there is a 21 or 22 year age gap. I will just say that from my opinion, all of this is my opinion, my commentary. You can disagree with me. That's too many years. Okay. That's just too long. Now, some of you might be in successful marriages with that kind of age gap. That was probably before the internet. Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? It was before we had choices. It was before we had too many choices. It was before we could, it was before a lot of things. The internet ruined it. No longer can you be in a relationship with someone that much older unless it's a transactional relationship, a la Real Housewives, where the guy or the girl is rich, usually the guy in those situations, not because men are rich more than women, just because that's how it is on Housewives, because we're featuring the lives of women, and they end up marrying an old guy. Let's take Erica Girardi, for an example, with Tom, who they're also in the news for all the crazy stuff he did while he was a lawyer and a very successful lawyer, but all of the, times he didn't pay the people he was representing, their settlements and what he did with his money. So Erica Jane was a very young, beautiful woman. And then Tom was very old and rich. And then the old balls get the hot girl because of the bank account. Okay. That's just basic math. All right. So Johnny Depp and Amber Heard met on the movie set. Johnny Depp at the time was with his, I have the worst, I'm sorry, screen grabs. I'm so sorry, Mr. Depp. All right, let's pull up something better. Johnny Depp at the time was with Vanessa, and that is the mother of his children. He has 2 children. One, Lily Rose, is like this beautiful model who looks so much like her mom. And then they have a son as well. They were together for many years in Europe. She's from France. She's like a singer and a model. Like she has all these talents, but they never married, which always seemed weird to me. Because I was like, just marry the lady. But it is kind of European. Maybe they were like, I don't want to. And in interviews, he had maybe stated that She didn't want to change her last name. They didn't need to be married. They didn't need this piece of paper. Well, they lasted quite a while together. We didn't know a ton about that relationship because Johnny Depp has been known to keep, he's not big into celebrity, which is the irony of this case and almost the sadness of this case is now the reason this case is so intriguing is because it is, obviously it's this relationship, it's messy, it's alcohol, it's drugs, it's allegations of abuse, but also it's a celebrity that we've all known as a household name for so many years. If you're a Gen Xer or a boomer, Johnny Depp was the dude, and he was so private, but he dated so many famous women, Winona Ryder, Kate Moss. Johnny Depp was like the Leo. And now there's like a new Leo, I'm sure, but I'm speaking as a old millennial or very young Gen Xer. Johnny Depp was it. When you thought of hotness, you thought of Johnny Depp, but he was so elusive. We always knew he was a bad boy. We always knew that he was probably into drugs and alcohol, that he, but there really wasn't a ton. He didn't do a ton of interviews about his personal life. He kept it pretty much under wraps. Yes, the first time we caught a glimpse of him was Johnny Depp, Richard Grieco or Rico or whatever. I can't remember him anymore. There were two hot guys in that show that I remember, Johnny Depp and Richard Grieco Rico. Now, wherever Richard Grieco Rico is, I don't know. Okay. So in his career. So it's crazy now that it's like it's like we're looking inside of their house, like through their drapes, and we're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's kind of like we're all the nosy neighbors because they're sharing all this information with us due to the fact that there is a defamation case. So after Johnny and Amber Heard met on this movie set, they spent a certain amount of years married to one another. Amber Heard was like 28, 29 when they got married, and Johnny Depp was in his 50s, I believe, already. So huge age gap. You see this beautiful young actress and this hot guy that is, known, this movie star who dated Winona Ryder and Kate Moss, to name a few. All right. And they remained married. But we started hearing rumblings of maybe all is not so well over in Hollywood land for Johnny and Amber. And then once they got separated and then ultimately divorced, there were lots of kind of rumors flying. And then Amber Heard decides to, do a Washington Post, I believe, article, People Magazine. She wrote an op-ed, I think, for the Washington Post, which is part of the defamation case, where she alludes to being the face. Well, she says she's being the face of domestic violence, and she talks about, other women, and it kind of right as the Me Too movement is starting. So it was just this like perfect storm of now media attention with this Amber Heard. Now, Amber Heard was, taking off in her own right, but she also was fairly unknown compared to Johnny Depp. And through this trial and through, people coming forward, we're learning that she was a little more into the celebrity than Johnny Depp was. Okay. So they get a divorce, and she writes this op-ed, and she's in People Magazine. All of a sudden, she's becoming this face of domestic violence. Well, the last relationship she just came out of was with Johnny Depp. And then she appears outside snapped by the paparazzi with bruises on her face. So she never really, there was a temporary restraining order that was granted for her against Johnny Depp. So that adds to it. But really, the idea that we all took away, and I think most of us did, is that Johnny Depp was abusive, because that is the picture that was put in front of us. If you add up all the, the times, if you look at all this stuff, we're just like, oh, okay, he's unfortunately this, this another male celebrity. Unfortunately, we are caught doing bad stuff, but now so much is coming out. So Johnny Depp really didn't speak on it too much, but I definitely had him like, turned him off in my brain. Like, I guess no longer lust after the Deppster, because he's, she had a video that came out of him slamming cupboards and looked to be intoxicated. And it just looked like what we've seen so many times from abusive men, whether it's, someone who's famous or unfortunately someone in our own lives. Okay. So now Johnny Depp decides, I am tired. Like, this is him through me watching all of his, testimonies and stuff. I want to sue her because Johnny Depp is saying, I've lost everything, basically. I'm paraphrasing. What more do I have to lose? Because when they asked him, what did you lose in this? He's like, everything. There was supposed to allegedly be a Pirates of the Caribbean 6. I can't believe there was 5. But there was supposed to be 6, which didn't happen. He feels like he lost work, he lost respect, and this domestic violence label followed him in his career after Amber Heard, where Amber Heard went on to do, the mermaid movie. Aquaman. I don't know why I called it that. Well, they're mermaids, right? Mermaids and mermen movie, amongst other things. And we all just kind of, believed, it's always, it is something. I myself am a feminist. I am a proud feminist. I think we all should be feminists. It's just for equality. So, it's like, believe women, so I want to believe. But now the things that are coming out. So Johnny Depp decides, I am going to sue for defamation. And so that is what he's doing in court. And then Amber, I believe, has a counter suit that she has. So he's suing for $50 million. She's suing for $100. Right now it's Johnny and his attorneys going at her. And they're just trying to build this story for Johnny Depp, for him to say, I never hurt her. I never hit her. I never abused her, like was alluded to, like she, had said, but didn't say in the Washington Post, but you could come to that conclusion after looking at that stuff. Thank you, Realification, for the super chat. I'm late to the party. Can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. So, okay. So now we're a week, maybe 8 days into this trial, and it is just so fascinating. Okay. So the trial started heavy on just hearing from Johnny Depp. And since this is a civil, this isn't criminal, this is civil, it seems to be that we're hearing a lot more from Johnny, from people on the stand, where I feel like maybe I watch too many crime shows, but they'd be like, objection, and we do get a lot of objections. We get a lot of compound questions. I'm learning a ton. Shout out to Emily Baker, where the Amber Heard's attorneys are doing these compound questions, which are too many questions in one. So you got to have concise, quick, boom, boom, boom on your counter. That's what I'm learning from Emily D. Baker. Boom, boom. You got to hit them. You got to hit it, and you got to quit it, and you got to bang, bang the drum. But Amber's attorney started out well. And then now he's like, you would agree that you were drunk and high and hate the color red. Am I right? You were there. And it's like compound. So it's a little confusing. But we start with Johnny painting the picture of his background. We talk to him. We talk to his beautiful sister, Christy. And these are such interesting testimonies because I didn't know anything previously about Johnny Depp's family life. I feel like, he came out in a time that that's hearsay, Joleen. Yes, that's hearsay. A lot of hearsay, a lot of speculation. It's just now we're all getting a course, going to law school. Okay. So Christy's on the stand. We don't hear a lot about Johnny because when he was first becoming up into, popularity and celebrity or superstardom, we had the paparazzi, but we didn't have TMZ. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have social media. You had to do these in-depth, you have to sit down with Barbara Walters back in the day, kids, if you really wanted to open up. And then Barbara was going to make you cry. Barbara Walters could make or break a bitch. All right. And so if you're sitting down with Barbara, something bad is going on. Okay. Normally not, unless you're one of the beautiful people or something, like the 50 most beautiful or successful or her favorites of the year, but probably some shit has went down in your life. So Christy and Johnny both share this crazy childhood story of an abusive mom, both verbally and physically, who probably had some form of mental illness that wasn't treated, but only through her nerve pills they had to get her. Johnny was the youngest of 4. Christy was next in line. They were the closest to one another. Later in life, Christy went on to work for Johnny, basically in a manager capacity. and they've maintained a very close relationship with each other. But to talk about their childhood trauma, it was just devastating to hear, but also not surprising. We see a lot of artists, a lot of people in entertainment come from very turbulent backgrounds, And so, she's sharing the story. The dad was a very, more the calm one. He was being abused allegedly by the mom, which her name's Betty Sue, because they come from Kentucky. And in Kentucky, you name people Betty Sue or Peggy Sue, like Peggy Sue Got Married, which is one of my favorite movies. Shout out to Kathleen Turner. So Betty Sue is painted as not a very loving, caring mother. She made fun of Johnny because he had a lazy eye. She basically took on a bully mentality, according to them, and had like mean nicknames and would pick on things that a mother shouldn't pick on. No one should pick on things people can't control, like a lazy eye, which Johnny had. So she had a nickname for him. She called Christy Violet, and that doesn't seem too bad, but Violet is the name of Christy and Johnny's dad's mom, so their grandma, who their mom, Betty Sue, hated. So if your family member is calling you the name of another family member they hate, probably not a good sign. So Christy and Johnny early on learned coping mechanisms that might not have been the healthiest. Run away, don't deal with it, protect the abuser, and self-medicate, which we'll see a lot of through this trial and hear a lot of, that Johnny Depp has basically spent his whole life self-medicating, which is very sad, but so on point for a lot of addicts. And I myself, as a recovering alcoholic, I have so much empathy for, people when it comes to, active addictions. And Johnny Depp is someone who doesn't say he has an active addiction. The only thing he's really said he ever was addicted to was oxycodone, which I think is a opiate. And I just watched that television show on Hulu about opiates and stuff. I mean, that is bad news bears. Okay. So that's something he has struggled with. But I would argue that that Johnny Depp is definitely, in my opinion, has other addiction issues. I mean, these are, I would say, both him and Amber. I mean, a lot of this, in my opinion, wouldn't be happening had drugs and alcohol not been so prevalent. And I speak from experience that for some of us, drugs and alcohol can be seen as something you can use to quiet the demons or quiet the voices or quiet the things, but really it just blows things up and makes it a lot messier. Okay. So Paula says, nope, my sister's name is Pamela Sue. We're from Kentucky. Hello, Sister Pamela Sue. Okay, Roxy is synthetic heroin. Oh my God. So that's just on another level of so addictive. The withdrawals alone, we hear a lot about that in the trial. So we get this whole picture painted of Johnny Depp's childhood, their turbulent relationship with their mother, being, from what they explain, very abusive. Okay. And so then after hearing that, we then go into some other witnesses. I will tell you a couple of my faves, and I don't think anyone's going to be surprised when I say this lady was a favorite. Let me hire her tomorrow. This woman, I forget her name. Please put it in the chat to remind me. She's Australian, okay? And she's like, I was Amber Heard's, excuse the Australians, my shitty Australian accent, but she's like, I was Amber Heard's assistant during the time with Johnny. She's just a bitch. I don't like her. She's paid me $25 an hour. I deserved a lot more than $25 an hour. And when I did ask her after working a couple of years if I could get more than $25 an hour, like $50,000 a year to live, and it's California for Christ's sake. Okay. And then Amber Heard, she spit in my face and yelled at me. And I just kept the job. Why'd I keep the job? Why do you think I kept the job? She was very aggressive with Amber's attorney when they were questioning her. She's like, that's a stupid question. Because this was a video testimony that she had done previously. And she's like, yeah, one time I had to go down to the Chateau Marmont. I had a son there. I brought my son. Yeah, that's why I kept the job, because sometimes she would let me bring my son to work, but she still paid me dick. Paid me big dick. Little dick, actually, if you think about it. Okay. And she was at the Chateau Marmont, which didn't make sense to me because she's got a house down on Sweetser, and then Johnny does, and she's got an apartment on Orange, and these are all streets in Hollywood. Okay. And So she's just like, had to bring her bathing suit with her friends. It's Sunday afternoon. You have better things to do for $25 an hour and do this shit. But she's just an emotional bitch. She's emotional. She's always emotional. All of a sudden, Johnny's bohemian. Now she wants bohemian, you know? She's tried to copy his style. And she's just a bitch. She's an emotional bitch. Okay? So, yeah, I believe Johnny. I believe that he didn't do anything wrong. She's always like this. She's always been like this. And did I tell you she pays me dick? Just horrible dick. Have you ever had the worst dick of your life? That's like working for Amber Heard. It's like having the worst dick of your life, but you can't get it out. Can't say, get off me. It just stays in there. It's like dick that doesn't go home. Okay, it's horrible and doesn't pay the bills. So this lady was hilarious. My favorite. She is no fan of Amber Heard. She left. They're like, oh, so would you say you left with a grudge? I don't have a grudge. I just think she's a bitch. I think she's a dirty bitch. I don't like her. What did you just ask me? Did I pay my house payment? No, I didn't. Okay, because it was the housing crash. I didn't pay it. So, oh well. But then I left, and now I work for a different celebrity that I'm going to talk shit on in years later. So she's just so freaking fantastic. Okay. So we have her testimony very pro Johnny Depp. She doesn't like Amber Heard. Amber Heard was rude to her. She saw her be very emotional. She doesn't believe she's telling the truth. She never saw any abuse. She's like, did I say any abuse from Johnny Depp's Amber? No. And I saw her naked. She never had nothing on her. She's just very emotional. She's just spit in my face. She paid me $25 an hour. Okay? No, she's a bitch. So after she testifies, my next favorite one is this guy. So this guy is from South Florida because Johnny Depp moved around a lot because Betty Sue liked to be on the move, okay? So his mom was like, we're out of here. We're going to South Florida. And then he meets this guy. And this is one of Johnny Depp's friends, which blows my mind. They're like childhood friends. And I'm like, but this dude's so old, you know? But, you know, so is Johnny Depp now. He's getting older too. But this dude was a treasure. He's an artist. He knew Johnny back in the day. And then he was in LA for a little bit. Worked at the Viper Room, which was the club that Johnny Depp owned until it later got sold to someone else. Also, sadly, the club where River Phoenix, Johnny Depp's friend, passed away due to, I believe, a heroin overdose right in front of the Viper Room on Sunset in Los Angeles. So crazy. Every time I drive by there, I'm just like, oh, River Phoenix, I love you. And there is the infamous Joaquin Phoenix call from right outside there trying to save his brother. It's just very, very, very tragic. Okay. So like Johnny Depp's been, you know, surrounded by, thank you DGF for the super sticker, by, you know, tragedy and drug abuse for many, many years. So this guy worked there and then he left. He was like, yeah, and then went back to school. I don't know. Why do South Florida people sound like they're from the East Coast? Maybe he moved. Anyways, he was just like, yeah, you know, then I wanted to go to like art school because I like making art. Who doesn't like making art? It's so fun. You know, I like beautiful shit. So he goes to art school and he graduates. And then Johnny said, you know, he wanted to buy a piece of his art. However, that never came to fruition. What came to fruition instead was Johnny said, actually, let us not just buy one piece. Let's have you curate a whole art exhibit. Like I don't know, 25 pieces. And then we'll work on showing that and getting it sold. And the guy's like, sounds like the fucking best, Johnny, but, you know, I don't know where I'm going to work. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I can make that many pieces. And Johnny's like, guess what? I have penthouses. So Johnny Depp has all these penthouses. He's got a house on Sweetser in West Hollywood. And then he's got houses in downtown Los Angeles, penthouses. Him and Amber stayed in penthouse 3. We hear that a lot in the trial. And then there's penthouse 1, penthouse 2, penthouse 4. Basically, Johnny was like, and you get a penthouse, and you get a penthouse. And he was just penthousing it out for everybody. So this guy gets a penthouse. He gets like penthouse 2. And he's like, yeah, I was like, Johnny, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take me to make 25 pieces, but let's, what do you think, man? And Johnny's like, I don't know, 2 months. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, 2 months. And he's like, yeah. And then, you know, 2 months went by and I only made 2. Supposed to make 25. Okay. So I was like, hey, Johnny, I'm so sorry. He's giving me like 5,000. He was giving him almost like a stipend a month for him to like live because the guy's just making art. You know, being an artist is a broke person's job. Tell me about it. As a comedian, we see each other, friend. So then Johnny's like, well, just stay as long as you need to stay. And he's like, oh man, Johnny, that brought tears to my eyes. So I've been in there for like, I don't know, 2-3 years, trying to make these big paintings the big ones, trying to sell them. So, man, I love Johnny. He's a great guy, but I also love Amber. I think they're good people. They're just in a really shitty situation, and it's really messing all of us up. And you guys need to figure it out, okay? And Amber, you're lying. You're a nice person. And one time you had a mask on your face and I walked in. I liked her. She had a dark sense of humor. She had a mask on her face like one of them beauty thingamajingies they do, And then I walked in and I was like, hey, Amber, you think that would do something for my face? Would that help me? And she said, no. And then he's like, and I liked it because she didn't know she was being funny, but she was being hella funny, okay? So this guy is just basically, again, another type character witness for Johnny, but also saying, I did like Amber, but I don't know what's going on. I never saw Johnny do nothing. I never heard nothing. I did hear him fight, but I never, I don't think Johnny was what they're saying he is to be, okay? So they're painting this picture of Johnny as very generous, very, a lot softer than this thing that we've been told for so many years, kind of in the Amber Heard narrative. Okay. Yes, that one got Amber laughing too, Rebecca. You're right. She was kind of like, he just seems like a really lovable, huggable type of guy. All right. And make your art. And I hope he made his art and I hope he sold a whole bunch, but I don't know what happened there. Okay, so those two are like my favorite witnesses. We also hear from some doctors. We also hear from their marriage therapist. I don't have a picture of her, but I didn't know that their marriage therapist was basically Lily Tomlin. If you guys saw, Amber and Johnny sought out marriage therapy during their marriage. They were struggling a lot, their relationship. She, according to her, he had addiction issues and he did too much blow and he did too much alcohol. He did too much this. And she was like, hey, me and my friends just want to do MDMA. Now, granted, Amber hasn't taken the stand yet, and I don't know if she will in his defamation case, but maybe in her case that she has against him for, I think it's defamation as well. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But so I don't know, but what we found out is that Johnny Depp gives a lot of penthouses away. And they're like, Johnny, how much did you make people pay? Well, I'm a big fan of Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S. Thompson always said, cut your foot off, drink your blood, and give a penthouse away. So that's kind of what I took on. The hyperbole of it all was, I'm going to cut my skull open and drink my blood through a straw before I will make someone pay for their own penthouse when you're an artist. Because Johnny Depp, I always wanted to be a guitarist, okay? I just always wanted to be a cloud guitarist, and I love it. And acting kind of fell in my lap per se. Nick Cage, you guys know him as Nicolas Cage. I know him as Nick. He was like, hey, you're 21, you're attractive. You want to talk to my agent? And I said, will they let me bring my guitar? He said, maybe, baby. And so I did. And it was 21 Jump Street. Booked it on the up and up, got to be in a relationship with Winona Ryder. So, yeah, that's kind of how it started. He went to LA, he dropped out of school young, told Betty Sue, this is not working for me, told his dad, and, left, and then just fell into kind of this acting thing when he really wanted to be in a band. And he's in the Hollywood Vampires, which I've never heard of. But apparently it's got some other old guys in it, And so go Johnny. Okay, so he tells that story of, starting out in LA, and then we're back to the marriage therapist. So they're at the marriage therapist, and the marriage therapist, aka Lily Tomlin, was like, I'm an LA therapist. She had all the, things you need, degrees, smart, all this stuff. But she's like, I took notes. I don't know if they're here. I don't know if they're there. I don't know where they are. The therapist was not the most organized. Granted, it's years later, and they only went to like 4 or 5 sessions with her. But she still was like, I just found that she screamed at him. Like her communication style was very, maybe not scream, but it was very aggressive, and he retreated and she followed. So Amber has a fear of abandonment, 1 ringy dingy, 2 ringy dingy. And Johnny has a fear of, being with the person that is his mother. So he retreated and she moved forward, even when it's not, the best idea, because to her, being in a fight is better than being abandoned. And to him, he just wants to retreat, play the guitar, and, talk about Hunter S. Thompson and take forever to say it. So the therapist, they're like, do you have the note? She's like, I don't know. I wrote it down on a cocktail napkin from the Chateau Marmont and I can't find it now. So I don't know. I'm strictly I'm an elite therapist. I had a friend have to contact a friend to give out my Gmail to Amber. So I think they're both abusive. I think they're both toxic. And there you go. Okay, wrap it up. So that was basically the therapist. She was just like, but it explained a lot. It was helpful in that Amber has this fear, according to the therapist, of abandonment, which I get. That is a scary thing. That's actually one of my fears. I fear being alone, being left, being totally. I think a lot of people can relate to that. But it manifests in a way that any attention is better than none. So even this negative, and this is me, I'm speculating, if you will, is better than having none. I would rather fight with you than have you leave. I know for my husband and I, we have very different communication styles when it comes to when we're not agreeing or in an argument. I like to face it head on. We're going to talk about it. We're going to stay through. My husband, he, didn't grow up the same way. So for him, it's like, it can be too much. So when Johnny Depp was explaining that sometimes talking to Amber, it feels like it's in this never-ending loop, this circle that he just can't get out of. I thought, I wonder if my husband feels that way when talking to me. And then I asked my husband, he said, pretty much, because I always want to, even if we've already come to the I'm sorries and whatever, I still want to be like, but this isn't going to happen again. And I will talk about it maybe more than it needs to be talked about. And with that, I am going to take a 2-minute break to let my friend into my house. So please leave all your comments. I will be right back. I'm going to put on a little screen thing and play a little bit of music. Think of this as a commercial break. Hulu does it, only they make buku Skrilla and I don't. So I'll be right back, everyone. Thank you for your patience, and we'll get back into it. Remind me, mods, where I left off. I love you all. And we are back. Thank you guys for your patience. I got my friend. We are rocking and rolling here. So thank you guys so much. All right, mods. So remind me quickly, where were we at, my lovely loves? I know we were talking about the psychiatrist, the counselor. So the counselor was very eye-opening, even though she was very disorganized. Okay. So the therapist. So she was very unorganized, Lily Tomlin, like one ringy dingy, two ringy dingies. And I don't know why my background, I took my background off and I really like my other background. So bear with me, you wonderful, beautiful people. And we're back. Okay. Thank you. All right. So, the one ringy dingy, two ringy dingy therapist was like, I don't know if I have all of the information I need. Again, I'll have to check my cocktail napkins, but good luck. All right. So it seems like it was obviously the relationship was not going well. So what happened, according to Depp, is it started very good. You know, he was like, we met on this movie. Hunter S. Thompson was there, and it was, then he took his own life. But so Johnny tells all the backstory, more backstory than you need. But I just sit there and I'm like, tell me more, because we're just learning so much about his life, and then Hollywood, and we're seeing texts from Elton John and lots of mentions of Marilyn Manson. And that's definitely done on purpose by Amber Heard's attorneys, because we all know Manson, he's got his own yucky yuck poo issues going on. But you're just like listening, and Johnny's like, I first met Amber Heard. It was a cold day. There was blood everywhere, and it wasn't mine, but it tasted sweet. And Hunter had interviewed her or auditioned her 5 times and said, I'm not sure if she could do this role. And it was a novel. It was his novel. I found his novel. That's what I do. I find novels, just hanging out with Hunter S. Thompson after I did Fear and Loathing. Became good friends, very good friends the last 10 years of his life. And so I said, what is this, Hunter? And he said, wow, you've discovered my long lost pieces, a novel I wrote. And he was like, Hunter, we must make this into a movie. And Hunter said, I'm not sure. And Johnny said, I am. And then we started talking movies. And then he auditioned her, and he was like, I'm not sure if she can do it, if she has the chops, if you will, kid. You can see the age gap, just even with me, with Johnny. Because to me, Johnny Depp was always so young and cool and hip, but now he's definitely moving into, I know he's not a boomer, but older Gen X status, you know, where we're all getting there, where all of a sudden our sayings aren't going to be as cool. Because he's like, yes, and I met Miss Heard's friends, the whole gang came around. And I'm like, nobody says that anymore, Johnny. But Johnny does. You know, but at one time that was cool, guys. Okay? Thank you, Shannon Van. Thank you. So then, you know, Johnny's like, well, I met Miss Heard, and I just, I thought, well, Hunter, if you've talked to her 5 times, I think she can either really disappoint you or really make you happy. Is that blood? And then, you know, I smell blood. So just, you know, I feel like I've been stabbed 1,000,000 times. Okay, it's a hyperbole. So we're just hearing the way Johnny talks, the way he's like, I took my writing and texting from Hunter S. Thompson, another artist I love. So just so you know, because Johnny Depp was so influenced by like Patti Smith, who's like in his phone and he's talking to Patti Smith, like NBD, you know, and then Hunter S. Thompson. And these artists have made such an impact on his life that he literally speaks like them. You know, it's like me with Ani DeFranco. I followed her around all for most of my 20s, and I still love her, and I'm 42. And sometimes I quote her, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I get it. But it also becomes a point where it might be a little much, Johnny. Okay. But those, you know, but he's an artistic. That's, you know, we're all weirdos. So, so then he says we had to do a scene in the movie. So we misheard, she was cast, and I said, hey, guess what? I'm such a feminist. You don't have to show your tuts. How about if you just stand here? There was a scene. Hello, Jerry. I know you love me. You're laughing at my jokes. There's a scene where Miss Heard was supposed to be topless, nude. And I said, whoa, feminist Johnny Depp says, not today, Satan. And why don't you just stand in the middle of a circle, the way we can, have the camera angle. You'll be wearing a skirt and a brassiere, but then you'll hold another brassiere. Boom! Magic. That's motion picture madness. Writers, let me rewrite the script. Johnny Depp also liked to rewrite scripts. He's at that point in his career where he's such a star. And let me just tell you guys, writers hate that shit. I mean, that's like your job to write. And then you have actors go, I think I know what my character would like more. And you're like, oh my God. You don't want to stab your eyes up, but you're Johnny Depp, so you're going to let him do it. You're going to let him do it. Okay. So then Johnny's like, so yeah. And then we had a kissing scene. And I was with Vanessa, my love, my lady, the mother of my children. Not married, but you guys get the picture. We were French. And Amber had a wife. I was like, Amber had a wife? Like, I didn't know any of this shit. Nobody told me any of this. Wasn't in the op-ed. So apparently she had a wife, a lady friend, who now we're finding out Amber Heard had a domestic violence arrest from that relationship from like 2000, I don't know, before 2010, we'll say. And so it's just like, oh my gosh, but I guess that ex-girlfriend then she met up with after the Johnny Depp breakup, and that girlfriend was like, oh, they're targeting us because we're gay, and it was some kind of public thing. So there was an accusation against Amber Heard. Okay. So, and some of you are saying, and another ex too. I mean, there's just like so crazy, all the stuff we're learning. So they're in a relationship and Johnny says, and we didn't do anything. I felt something. There was a shower kiss and we sucked face, and I sucked face like a Gen Xer and she sucked face like a young millennial. That's what she is, right? Yeah. Not that. I mean, she's young, but she's millennial. And I knew, but we were in relationships. So we had to be respectful. Okay. So then they meet up after a while because their relationships just don't happen to work out. And then they have this year and a half of just love bombing, I think you would call it, where Amber Heard, according to Johnny Depp, again, we haven't heard a testimony from her in this trial. They did have a UK trial and we have seen video and we've read op-eds, but for this stuff, we haven't heard from her yet. So Johnny and her are, so we're hearing mostly, from him, but it appears to be love bombing because he's like, and I would come home from my 17-hour movie set days and I'd have a glass of whiskey ready for me and she'd take my boots off. I'm like, what is this? I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy wouldn't even do that. The Honeymooners wouldn't do that. Maybe Dick Van Dyke. I don't know. This is some old people shit. I have never taken off. Oh my God, my adorable, wonderful friend Amber just left a comment. I'm not even watching these goofballs. She's all entertainment. Everyone go support Amber Preston. Follow her on all the social medias because she's such a good friend and hilarious comedian that she's allowing me to finish my live while she's here because I'm such a rude hostess, okay? Oh my God, she's a treasure. All right. So when he's like, one time I tried to take my own boots off and they were like, and by they, I mean her. I speak in hyperbole, not for real. Okay. 1,000 Ambers told me, don't you take your boots off, Johnny. That's my job. And I thought, oh, okay, this is weird. This is starting to get even weirder. It gets weirder. We're getting to even weirder stuff. But what millennial woman's taking boots off these days, unless they're in Kentucky? I mean, and that's no shade on Kentucky. I just feel like maybe we keep hearing a lot of the Southern gentlemen. Maybe there's a Southern ladiness. I feel like even Kentucky ladies would be like, F you, athlete's foot. Like nobody's taking boots off anymore. Whose bed have your boots been under? That's as much as you're going to get with me. But I'm taking your boots off. So it's almost as if we're hearing, the more we hear about Amber, it's a very interesting dynamic of hashtag not all Ambers are bad because my friend Amber here, not Amber Heard. Okay. So don't hold that against her, no matter what team you're on. And someone asked what team I'm on. We'll get to these things, okay? And kind of, yeah. Okay, so she's telling him, don't take your boots off. It's my job. And we're hearing more and more from Johnny that Amber is, where are you? Where'd you go? What's happening? You're not in the room. You should be with me. And he feels like he's not seeing his kids as much. His sister even testified that just wasn't the same Johnny. So we're getting the character fed to us that Amber Heard is very needy. and she needs him around, and she needs to take his boots off, and she needs control, and she might have love bombed. And love bombing is so dangerous because, you know, you think that shit's going to last forever, and really it's just a way to get ya, you know, allegedly. All right. So we're hearing about that. We're hearing about the problems in the relationship. So after the year or so, Johnny's like, my kids don't like her. My friends really don't like her, but I love her. They had a journal, you guys. They had a journal together where they wrote in. If that's not the most codependent, drug addicted thing I've ever heard, and I'm an alcoholic, I can say these things. That is, it could be sweet if you're both like writing each other little notes like, I love you, just so you know it. But this, I think I have a screenshot of the journal somewhere. This is, just keep your own journals, people. There's some things that are just meant for you. You don't have to journal with your loved ones. You don't, it's like going to the bathroom on top of them while they're going to the bathroom. Get your own toilet, okay? So they're showing all this evidence, and this is a little bit of the journal. And just out of this, it says, you know, get out of your own way so that we're able to follow something remarkably, some advice. I love and adore you. I believe this is Johnny writing to Miss Heard. I won't express how sorry I am for having stooped so low as to spewed such vicious or something for the sole purpose of hurting you. I am far from being proud of myself for such a, and then he's very polite. He gives the arrow, which is very 90s. If you were a kid in the 90s and you wrote notes to your friends, you'd go turn over as if they were going to get to the page and go, what happens now? You know, it's like, well, he's probably going to go to the next page, but that was so Gen X. This case is so millennials versus Gen X. This is just such a case, the curious case of millennials versus Gen X. So they got this journal they share together, and they're writing down their feelings. And yeah, just like Renee's saying, joint journal, vibes giving me Facebook. Don't share these things with your significant other. You're supposed to be, you know, I don't know. I'm not the Judge Judy, Dr. Joy Brown on marriage here, but I do know you're supposed to have some things for yourself. Okay. And that's from someone who grew up in an alcoholic family and had alcoholism herself and feels the need to be very codependent and has to check myself before I wreck myself. This is just really weird. All right. So they're struggling. They're doing joint journals. It's weird. It seems as though watching this case, they both are in it to hurt each other at this point. Johnny Depp wants to hurt Amber Heard because he feels as though he was unjustly labeled a domestic abuser when he, in his own words, says, I have never hit a woman. I never would hit a woman. And why now in my 50s is just now coming out? Because I think most of Johnny's exes have said they don't believe there's truth to this. So now he wants to hurt her and she wants to hurt him. Fun fact, I mean, fun is subjective, but Amber Heard did not want this case televised. Johnny Depp said, oh, we're televising it, which shows just how bad it must have been, because Johnny Depp, being as private as he is, to want this Kardashian style just tomfoolery to go on the internet shows you the level that this got to, you know, and just how much he feels hurt. He feels as though things were taken due to what he says are completely false and fabricated allegations. And Amber Heard did not want it televised, maybe because we're seeing what she feared. And that is that there is a big support for Johnny Depp. Like, it is so many people in the court of public opinion. It's ridiculous how he's winning. I almost think Johnny Depp doesn't give a shit about this money. He just wanted to show everyone what he has been seeing. And for him, he's like, you took me down. Now I'm going to take you down. Okay. You forced, you know, certain public opinion about me. Now I am going to do that to you. I still feel, and again, my commentary, my opinion can be wrong, that these two people just want to hurt each other. They just want to hurt each other. And that is seen, if you watch this case, there's so many times Amber keeps eye contact with Johnny Depp a lot. She looks over at the jury. Johnny Depp doesn't look at Amber as much as she looks at him. But there have been times when they both locked eyes and you can just feel it. It's almost this weird, sick tension. This is such a great example of the most toxic relationship you've ever seen. Think about your most toxic friend and how they're all, everyone's got that one friend that always has these shitty relationships. Like, how do you find these dickheads, or how does this always happen to you? This is that on crack. Like, it is so intensified. And so I like to watch, I'm going to say this out loud and feel free to judge me. I like to watch crazy crackheads on YouTube. And by that, I don't know if they're on crack. They just act cuckoos, okay? And they fight with each other and they punch stoves and they do weird stuff, all right? And it's drama. And I was like, I don't even want to watch them anymore because this is so much more interesting. And then I was thinking, this is still like crazy crackhead mentality, but just with money. So now everyone I'm watching in my stories, these two have nice teeth, have multiple houses where the other ones are about to be evicted. It's like going from an episode of Cops to going to, Cribs with crime, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it made sense when I was talking to my husband about this. He's like, of course you like this. It's just people with higher socioeconomics who are doing the same thing, because there's so much with my crack stories and with the Johnny Amber stuff. There's so many parallels, So, yeah. Okay. So you basically are just these two people that despise each other. And so Johnny Depp has done quite a few act outs as well. Okay. And we've seen the best of acting on both sides. So he's retelling what Amber heard, the violence he feels he has suffered, physical violence. Now, Amber Heard can be heard on video and on audio because these two taped each other. You're not in a good relationship if you have to record each other, okay? But I believe from this case, we've learned that Amber started recording him very early on, and then Johnny started recording her as well. So they just have all these recordings of each other. And so they played the recordings, and Amber Heard can be heard, like I said, saying that she has in fact hit Johnny Depp. Okay, and that she has been abusive to him. And then Johnny Depp, as you can see here, he's doing a classic stop, drop, and roll. So as things are being flung at him, in this instance, I believe he's leaving Penthouse 3, and he's like, I'm going to Sweetser, which is his house in West Hollywood on Sweetser, like I said. And this is after, I believe, Amber Heard's 30th birthday. Johnny Depp was late to her party. This was unacceptable, okay? She was with friends, having dinner, but he had to have a meeting with his new business manager. He came to find out, oh my God, I am not in the finances I thought I was. I'm a little bit in financial ruin, according to Johnny Depp and his new finance people. Allegedly, according to him, which some of the lawyers said was speculation, was due to the former financial people just doing whatever they want with his money. I would argue maybe it's because you're giving everyone a free penthouse. And I have lots of friends, but very few I would let them live rent-free. So maybe a less of the generosity and more pay me. I need something, okay? Because Amber Heard, she has a whole group of millennial friends. Some she's not friends with anymore. That has been pointed out by Johnny quite a few times. Don't know what happened to that young lass. Miss Heard. Johnny will be like, I don't know what happened to that young lass. Miss Heard was very good friends with her for about 5 minutes, and now she's gone. I don't know what could have happened there. Could it be Amber? I don't know. But she used to live in Penthouse 5, Penthouse 6. Amber's friends are living in the penthouses for free too. She has a friend who's like, I really want to finish my novel, but it's like hard to tweet and be on Instagram and have a TikTok following while finishing a novel. She did not say any of this, but that's what I imagine she's thinking in her head, because she's like, I can't work. I'm like, oh my God, I'm still trying to finish a novel. And by novel, I mean book of essays, a la David Sedaris. And by David Sedaris, I mean not as funny as David Sedaris at all, okay? But I've been trying for years, but I have to work. Johnny Depp says, don't work. You are a wonderful young gal with the world of blood at your feet, like Hunter used to say, when life gives you lemons, stab those lemons until they bleed out and you can suck them dry and get high off them like peyote. Hyperbole. So he says, move in, write your novel in one of my penthouses. So he's got all these people living for free creating their art. He's basically one of those weird artist communes. I hope people are wearing deodorant. Like, that's what he's doing at this point. He's just like, come on in, you can live in a penthouse. So, and then her sister, she has a sister who they might have a turbulent relationship. We're going to find out more as we go. Her and her husband move in. They're there for like 3 years rent free. Holy shit, that is, I need the Johnny Depp deal, okay? So everyone's living in these different penthouses, and Amber's got her friends around because according to Amber and these recordings, she loves to tell Johnny, you're old, you're boring, so are your friends. Because Amber's like, I don't want to hang out with these people. Literally, she's saying this. She doesn't want to hang out with Johnny. She calls him an old man. I wrote down a few things. I'm trying to do most things from my memory, you guys. But there are some things, okay? So Amber is known now for what we've heard from the testimony and recordings is she likes to call him an old fat man, which is like, oh, it hurts me as a very old millennial or very young Gen Xer. I just like to claim both, depending on who likes who which day. But just like, you can't call Johnny Depp old and fat. He's Johnny Depp. Next, you're going to tell me Leo's creepy. It's getting there. It's getting there. Okay. So it just like hurts my little heart that it's like, oh my God, now our sex symbols are being called old and fat. Ugh. Okay. So she's like, you're an old fat man. Let's see, what else does she say? She says that he is boring and his friends are boring. They play guitar and they're old men. So she really likes this to really get him with the age. And I can see that that would hurt him because Johnny Depp is forever kind of young and probably in his head as well. He's an entertainer. He's an artist. He plays guitar. He was always Johnny Depp. Wherever you were at your height is how you kind of always remember yourself. And I think he thinks of himself as always cool. And she's like, you're not cool. You're old and you drink too much wine, but so do I. Okay. So it's just like, oh, Johnny Depp's old and fat. So she says these things a lot. She thinks his friends are lame, so she has all her friends around. And her friends, you know, it's a wide variety. There's no Marilyn Mansons, but there is like, I believe a Johnny, definitely you could tell his age when he's like misgendering her trans friend, but not doing it for malicious reasons, just because he even said, I don't know if I'm doing this correctly. What is the proper language? You know? And I was like, oh yeah, Johnny Depp is a little older. Okay, so Amber so this is her 30th birthday, as I'm saying, and he's telling us kind of what happened. And I believe this is the 30th birthday. So he's late because he was told by his financial advisors, you've made some bad financial decisions. I'm like, yeah, listen to the case. I mean, he's just giving everything away for free and buying way too much wine. So, all right. All these millennials are living free, and one, boomer friend off his dime. All these artists don't want to work. So I'm sorry, it sounded weird. So he has this meeting and he's worried because he's got 2 kids. He's got a legacy and he thought he had more money than he did. So then Johnny's like, I had money disappear. I was shocked. To find out where he was. And this is 2016 on Heard's birthday. So he was late for the birthday dinner she had with friends. So his new financial person showed him what his former financial person basically screwed him over. And on her birthday night, she hit him twice. So she was kind of short-tempered with him once he got to the party. She texted him, hey, can you bring some weed and something else? These two love weed and MDMA, which is ecstasy apparently, or Molly if you're Miley Cyrus, okay? And all I know about Molly, I've never done MDMA. I've never done ecstasy. So I feel like I missed my ship, okay? But I had friends that did it and didn't offer me any. And all they did was rub up on me. And then when we got to the after party, they put Vicks Vapor Rub all over their faces and sat in front of a fan. So I thought that's how you're supposed to act when you're on ecstasy. You're supposed to hump or put Vicks Vapor Rub on your face and sit in front of a fan because it feels so good. And then not tell your friend Joleen what you're doing, because you think she is a narc, all right? But no, turns out that MDMA might make people cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and a little violent if they already have that in them, because these two love some MDMA so much that they did, or at least Amber Heard, according to Johnny, did MDMA on their wedding day. Is that a thing? I heard a stand-up comedian, a very funny lady, I forget her name, but I saw her set and she was talking about getting married in her 30s, and they just got married in their yard. And all you need for that, this is her joke, is you need a cake, a wedding cake, and ecstasy. So like, are people really doing ecstasy on their Did I do my wedding wrong? I was already sober by that time, but I feel like I should get a redo. You know, I know my husband's never done ecstasy. I feel like we would just be like this to each other, just weirdly touching each other. And I'd probably screw it up and put Vaseline on my face and sit in front of a heater, and then I would burn to death. I'm not sure. Okay. So she did MDMA. They love MDMA. She's like, bring some weed. Johnny's like, I love weed. Shows up, weed, wine. Apparently she's drunk. She's mad at him. The friends disperse. They head back to the penthouse 3. She's taking off her makeup, getting ready for bed. He is in bed reading a book because he's older and that was late for him to stay up. Okay. It was very late. He didn't have any blow. He's got to read. You got to read before bed when you are over 50, sometimes over 40. All right. And so then they get in a fight. And she's like, can't believe you do that to me. And he's like, oh, but I have financial issues. And she's like, I don't care. So then at 4:30 a.m., she hits him twice that night. And that's when he says, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to leave. He leaves penthouse 3 at 3 a.m. But this is him kind of like, all I ever did was duck and cover, DuckTales, a woo-woo, and then I picked her up and set her down, like, stop hitting me. But she kept coming for me. Because remember, Amber's number one fear, according to the therapist, according to Johnny, according to testimonies, is being abandoned, left alone. So to her, even being in a toxic relationship and fighting is worse than him just leaving. All right. So at 4:30 a.m., he goes to the Sweetser house. And that's the infamous house where we saw the cabinet slamming, where she hid the phone and recorded him. And he was real pissed, and he poured himself a big ass glass of wine. And he was like, are you filming this? And they got into that other fight. Okay, so he leaves and goes to the Sweetser house. The next day is Coachella. Duh. Of course, she's Coachella age at that point. And so she's like, I know I just got in a fight with my husband. I may or may not have allegedly hit him. Who knows? But Coachella can't wait. So you get your outfits on. You head to the desert where I live. Please stay home. The Starbucks is way too packed. And there's too many people at Trader Joe's not wearing bras, which I'm totally fine with, but just jealous because mine are pointing at the ground and these ones are pointing at the sky. Okay. So, and I know you're not going to eat the Kringle. So why are you standing in front of the Kringle that I'm trying to get to? Okay. I know these young kids are not eating the Kringle, but I'm eating the Kringle. It's raspberry lately at Trader Joe's, if you're wondering the flavor, but almond's also good. Okay. So Coachella. So then he doesn't see her until May. And they're like, why didn't you see her till May? What was this? So her birthday is April 21st, 2016. You leave. She goes to Coachella. He doesn't see her till May. Turns out he was going to go to the house while she was at Coachella. You guys aren't going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. Okay. But this is true. This is our Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, the whole 9. Oh, here's some of their weed too. Lots of weed. And when you're Johnny Depp, you get this, you get the good ganj. Okay. So I wonder if I have a picture. Oh, shoot. I might not have a picture of this. But you guys might thank me that I don't have a picture of this. Okay. So, I have a picture of it. Sorry. So if you're grossed out by things, you're going to get grossed out. Trigger warning. Okay. So then they're like, well, why didn't you, see her? What happened? He's like, something happened. Let me tell you a little story that my friend Hunter S. Thompson told me. Every dog has its day, but every dog doesn't shit on your bed. And then we bled together and did peyote. And stared up at the sky and stabbed each other 1,000 times in the eyes and did mescaline. So basically the housekeeper sent Johnny a picture and said, hello, Johnny, this is the housekeeper. You might not want to come home because there is allegedly human fecal matter in your casa, in your bed. Someone shit your bed, Johnny, and I know it wasn't you. And Amber's at Coachella. Your side of the bed has shot on it. And Johnny's like, I don't remember shitting the bed. And the housekeeper's like, yeah. I didn't think you did because you weren't here. And he's like, oh my God, Amber Heard, my wife, who I just got this big fight with, who's at Coachella doing MDMA, I'm sure, in the desert, is now listening to The Weeknd, having a great time, and I have shit on my bed. So Johnny Depp is claiming that Amber Heard put human feces on his side of the bed as a sign to like, oh no, this isn't yours. She marked her territory, allegedly. Now, we would have to really zoom in. I don't know. I don't have a dog. I have a cat. This is definitely not from a cat. My cat Tilly sometimes lays some logs, let me tell you, depending on the food. All right. But this is dark. There might be a problem with your diet. I don't really see human fecal matter outside of water, toilets. So I'm not sure how it's supposed to look. Okay. Amber Heard says it's not human. It's the dogs. Dogs did this. We got dogs. They shit the bed all the time. Oh, one of those couples didn't train their dogs. They have 2 Yorkies, miniature Yorkies, 4 pounds each. Johnny Depp said they could never do this. He has been their owner. He's been with them for years with Amber, and they never, this shit is the size of this. Here's one of the dogs. Okay, so this dog, according to Amber Heard, made this doo-doo brown. Oh, now it won't open. It's like, quit doing that to people. That doo-doo brown is bigger than that dog. Okay? So I don't know if it's human, but it's not from those dogs. So either she went outside and she grabbed something off one of them doggy bags that you can find in downtown LA. Actually, people don't even pick up their poop in downtown LA. Let's not lie. Okay? And then put it on his bed, knowing that he was maybe going to come over. I don't know. That's all left for speculation. But if that poo came out of that little dog's butt, he's going to need to go to the proctologist because that is very damaging. Okay. Thank you, Eric Spear. Missed you guys. I missed you. I miss you every day. Okay. And this is why people online have been calling her Amber Turd. Oh, I mean, this stuff is just going to follow you for the rest of your life. Who is that gun-toting lady who's always like, I bring my gun everywhere. And she's always doing videos, and I forget her name. She has long hair, and then she allegedly shit herself, and now no one will let it go. Oh, my God. I farted once in gym class in like 5th grade and blamed Jesse McNally. So sorry, Jesse McNally, because we were doing the sit-up challenge. And I was like, Jesse did it, and he never lived it down. He never lived it down. I'm so sorry, Jesse. I was like 10, 11. I was terrified. I couldn't be known as fart girl the rest of my life. You were a boy. You were going to get over it. Okay. That's the patriarchy. But yeah, so the shitting of the bed was just like, we're putting poo on the other person's side of the bed. That's the kind of fighting we're doing. I mean, it's one thing to scream at each other, do all this other stuff, but there's doo-doo brown going on. That is where I draw the line. That is definitely where I draw the line. Okay. So just when you think this case can't get any weirder, we're also introduced to a knife. So Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have nicknames for each other. He calls her Slim. She calls him Tim or Jim or Daddy. I have no idea. It's from some movie, something I'm sure she didn't watch until she saw him. It's just too much. She bought him a knife. The knife says, till death I think it just says till death or something. Something creepy. Something strange, right? Then we hear audio in court. So she buys him this knife because what's love got to do with it without a knife, you know? And then we hear audio allegedly of him. I mean, from what it's hard to hear some of this audio, but as I'm talking about poop, I got my sweet little cat here. You would never do that, right, Tilly? We hear audio of her gifting him the knife and then him being like, I'm going to cut myself, because they're that couple. They're that couple. You know, he's Jack Sparrow. He loves Keith Richardson or whatever. I don't even know if I'm Keith Richards, not Kyle Richards and Kathy. No, Kyle and Kim's brother, Keith. No, Keith Richards, not Richardson. Okay. From Rolling Stones, I believe, was supposed to die a long time ago because does a lot of drugs and stuff, but loves that. He's just, you know, Johnny's method. He's just in all his parts, and maybe Amber is a little too. And so they're that cutter couple, you know? They're just like, yeah, let's just like mix our blood together. It's gonna be so hot. They got vampire love. So he's like, I'm cutting. She's like, don't cut yourself, baby, cut me. And I'm like, oh my God, you're 50 and 30 something. Cut a cucumber into nice slices, get some ranch dressing, and binge some Netflix. We do not need to be cutting each other. This is too much. This is beyond artsy, people. Okay, there's a moment where we got to grow up. We're still living like it's the Viper Room 1995. It's not. There's no reason for grown adults, one who's damn close to Social Security and the other one who's, you know, knocking on menopause door, to be cutting each other and buying each other knives. This is some weird Janelle Evans teen mom with her weird husband David shit, if you guys watch that stuff. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mama Drama. Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Part 2, for sure. At least Angelina at the time was like in her 20s. Billy Bob, he's just, I don't know. Billy Bob's in this story. He's in this story as well. But remember, Billy Bob and Angelina were like, she's like, got my Billy Bob tattoo. And they're like, just like tonguing everywhere and just like sucking each other's blood. Like that's why everyone thinks Hollywood's weird. That's why everyone not on the coast is like weirdos. They don't want to hear what you have to say. They don't care about your politics because you cut each other, put poop in each other's beds, and you're all weird. Okay. And I can say that because I lived in LA for a long time. Okay. And I'm still kind of close to LA. Just weirdos. Two actors together is like, oh my God. Bring a shield. Okay. So speaking of Billy Bob Thornton, so we got the cutting, we got the knife, which is very interesting. A lot of people have questioned, like, why would she give him a knife? And if she's scared of him, and there's all these questions, you know. So in addition to the knife, Johnny Depp seems to be a little insecure. Now, this tends to happen when you meet someone when you're with someone else and you have this connection. Because even though they both say we didn't cheat on our loved ones, our, you know, partners for each other, we met up later. He does say they had a kiss in the shower that changed everything. So there was definitely, Boner City Township going on, definite love connection happening. Who knows if they talked or not? I don't really care. But if you meet that way, you're always going to wonder, will they do that with someone else? Okay, that insecurity always stays. A lot of us have been in a situation like that. And then, how you get them is how you'll lose them, and how you meet them is how they'll meet somebody else, sort of. Okay. So there's always that fear that that'll happen. So throughout the relationship, we're hearing some, recordings of Johnny Depp and things that Amber Heard is saying as well, where he is jealous. First of all, he's jealous of Billy Bob. Billy Bob and Amber did a movie together. I didn't see it. Thing with Billy Bob is he will steal your girl. He is Mr. Steal Your Girl. And I don't know how, but I don't know. I did watch Fargo, the season he was in, and he's got something. And I'm not proud to say that. I mean, it's not Bad Santa something, but it's definitely first season Fargo something. He's got something. I don't know what it is. Could be charisma. Women, we fall for stuff like that sometimes. Not all of us. All right. So Billy Bob and her are in this movie. And Johnny thinks something's going down in the DM. Something's happening. Same with James Franco. She did a thing with James Franco. He might testify. Elon Musk might testify. Oh my gosh. So he is shown to have these jealous tendencies, and I'm sure, since they're both kind of weird like that, she doesn't help with that, and probably, I'm speculating, but might enjoy that he feels a little, hey, jealousy a la the Gin Blossoms. All right. So back to Billy Bob. Billy Bob ties in another fight that they had, this infamous fight from Australia. Pirates of the Caribbean was being filmed in Australia. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard had just gotten married. Amber Heard pushed back on a prenup, so they did not get a prenup. I will tell you this, that's a huge red flag. Future rich men and women of America, if you marry someone who's broke and they don't want to sign a prenup, they're not in it for the right reasons. Okay? That's just any excuse. Because I know at my socioeconomic status, and if my husband leaves for some reason and some Richie Rich wants to marry me, I'm not signing. Okay? I'm in it for the money. So just know that that's a red flag. So she hasn't signed this prenup. But they do talk later about a postnup. Johnny talks to his financial people, lawyers. They talk to Amber. Amber's big mad. So Johnny's filming in Australia for Pirates 5 or Pirates 25. One too many pirates, if you ask me. Okay? Disney's milking this. We only got one season of My So-Called Life, but we get 5 Pirates of the Caribbean. Make it make sense, ABC and Disney. All right, I got to get over that. But so he's filming. She comes over after filming with Billy Bob. He's in Australia. There's already been tons of talk that he shouldn't be drinking. She doesn't like him drinking. He doesn't act the way she wants him to act. She doesn't want him drinking. She doesn't want him drinking and drugging so much, unless it's MDMA for her and her friends or a little bit of weed they can do together. But right now he's doing too much wine, too much, booger sugar, too much of that. He's just, I believe, starting to realize, or recently, I think starting to realize he's got an issue with this, the Roxys, the prescription medication. All right. So he is in Australia. She comes and she's like, guess what? I'm paraphrasing. Your stupid ass lawyer told me some stupid ass news about some stupid ass postnup. I don't like it. I don't like you. I don't want to sign it. Blah, 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 blah. They get in a fight, right? He decides, I'm going to start drinking. So he starts drinking vodka because that's going to end well. Okay? So did you just say poop-nup? It was a poop-nup. It should have been a poop-nup. Okay? So they get in a fight. Johnny cuts off the tip of his finger. It disappears. He has to go to a plastic surgeon. They show a picture. I'm not going to show it here because I can't deal with that. Poop is one thing, but you could see the bone in his finger. The whole tip of it is cut off. Originally, he had said that he jammed it maybe in an accordion door. He did it himself. Now he's saying that was just to protect Amber. He lied to the doctors. He said the doctors could tell he was lying, that kind of injury didn't make sense with what he was describing. He says what happened is Amber got mad. He went down to the bar in the house because when he does pirates in these movies, they give him these big ass houses because he needs a lot of room to hide from Amber. He says he hides in 9 bathrooms, 9 bedrooms. She follows him because he wants some time during a fight to calm down, and she wants to go 12 rounds at once. And he said, this is why boxing has rounds. You can't just fight. You have to take little breaks. And Amber's like, no, you're going to abandon me. And he was like, no, I need time. This is too reminiscent of my past with my mother, blah, blah, blah. So they get into this fight. He goes down. He was like, I'm going to have vodka. F this. I've tried so hard. Vodka. And then she comes down and she's like, oh, hell no. You are not drinking that vodka, Johnny. I am tired of this. I'm a 30-year-old woman. I could do better. You fat old man. Takes the vodka and throws it at him, I believe. So then he's like, oh, you want to play that game? Well, I'm going to get the other bottle of vodka because there was 2 bottles of vodka. One that had the big handle on it. So they were like, Johnny's going to get ripped. All right. And let's stock his bar up because that's going to help him. So then he pours it. Allegedly, she grabs that bottle, backs up. He rests his hand on the bar like this. I believe it's his right hand as well, his dominant hand. And she throws it, and the glass breaks and kind of ricochets and slices off the tip of his finger. What in the American Horror Story is going on? I'm like, what? And then, of course, when your finger gets hurt, what do? Do you call 911? Do you pass out due to pain? Do you start crying? No. Johnny Depp, in his own words, took said finger, I believe the one without the tip, and started writing notes to himself in blood on the walls. While Amber Heard just screamed at him, allegedly. So he was writing things to remember, like, pick up almond milk. You're almost out, bitch. Just like, you need more Tide Pods. And he was just writing it all over the walls, writing things. Just like Hunter S. Thompson for life. Miss you, brother, because he refers to everyone as brother. And then we find out not only we ran out of blood, he might have grabbed some paint. And then he might have put it in paint thinner. Why do you just have paint and paint thinner around? So many questions. Okay. So, and then he's like, I think I was in some kind of psychotic episode. You think? Then allegedly a TV was broken. There might have been a coffee mug thrown through it by him, according to Amber. But he said, I didn't black out. I just went crazy from the pain. Might have been hallucinating a little bit. And then somebody also in blood drew penises on stuff. What in the world? In your time of pain, the first thing you can think of is dick. That is such a man thing to do. Can you imagine? The last thing I would draw was a dick. I mean, they are so proud of those dicks. So he like drew a penis and he's like, I don't remember that. And they're like, but you did, apparently on a lampshade, maybe on some artwork, as well as notes to himself. Oh my God, you guys, just drawn dicks, his fingers gone. She's yelling, just Romeo and Juliet in 2022. Okay. So where Billy Bob comes in, because remember, we mentioned Billy Bob. Apparently, here's some of the notes. Here's a screenshot from the trial they shared. And it says something about Easy Amber. I don't know if this is the exact one, but they were talking about during the trial. Easy Amber and Billy Bob. And this call Carly, she said it better, babe, or something. There was just notes being written. I don't know if he then grabbed what else he was writing in, but he just kept writing himself notes, different places, and drawing dicks and writing in blood and writing in this and writing in that. And oh my God, what in the bloody wieners is going on? Okay. How can you get so many? It wasn't in blood. Okay. It was the paint. All right. So he dips it in paint. But when they were talking to the lawyer, when he runs out of blood, it might have been blood too. Okay. I told you, I'm a comedian. I'm not a lawyer. All right. Okay. Where can we find that pic uncensored? Emily D. Baker. Go there. So this might not be the exact picture, but I'm saying this had happened previously in their relationship when they were in fights, or when he might have been, under the influence, or they both were under the influence. He might have written notes to himself to kind of remind himself of things he needs to know about the relationship, things like that. So yes, hashtag me poo. Okay. And then Max Loves Dumb Mother says this is not close to testimony to date. That presents as valid pictorial proof, shows Amber added to the blood painting writing. Either way, there's just bloody things going on. Danny says, if I recall correctly, that was when he was still addicted. Yes. And he said that he barely felt his finger. Yes. And he didn't realize. Yes. And I also do think you could be in a state where the pain is so strong and it's gone so much to your head that you might be delirious from pain. And Emily D. Baker was saying, well, no wonder he got, what was the thing he got? Some kind of infection. I think it starts with an M, because he was maybe allegedly putting his own finger that was cut into paint thinner and paint. Okay. Thank you, Amy. I'm going to try to be better at doing recaps. This is a big recap, but I'll try to follow it next week every day, come in with a fun recap for you guys, because listen, my point is, no matter whose side you're on, this is all ridiculous and this is not healthy. And if anything, we should walk away taking notes like, okay, don't write in blood. All right, don't say somebody physically abused you when you might have physically abused them. You don't want to get that part wrong. That's a bad part to get wrong. So yes, Edward Scissors is gonna Not gonna be the same for me anymore. Oh my gosh. MRSA. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Max. MRSA. God, MRSA. Let me look up the definition of MRSA. Because I had never even heard of MRSA, but he got MRSA. Oh my gosh. Okay. So he's got MRSA. MRSA infection. Okay. It's methicillin resistance staph. So it's like a staph infection is caused by a type of staph bacteria that become resistant to many. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. To many of the antibiotics used to treat ordinary staph infections. Oh, so it's probably hard to get rid of. Oh my God, Sylvia, you sweet baby doll. Thank you so much for the generous super chat. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Okay, so back to the story. So they have this awful fight in Australia. And, there's this now he's saying what I had said before, how I lost the tip of my finger. She did it. And she's like, you just see a lot of Amber. Amber is very good at time to look sad, time to look curious, time to look at jury, time to look at Johnny, so it's like two actors and it's really, really interesting. Yes. MRSA, you guys, he got MRSA. Oh, Dom says it can eat into the bone if untreated. Oh my God, that sounds awful, horrible. Oh, you guys, I just figured that it was something crazy, but this is, like Rebecca's saying, makes them more resistant to antibiotics. Oh, I'm so sorry. That is awful. That is ridiculous. Okay. So again, we're jumping around because we got to just get caught up so that next week we can have our daily fun, if you will, recaps of this craziness. Okay. So let's get into some more highlights. So they talk about the Australia thing. Now, a lot of people weren't surprised by a lot of this and things that came out in the trial and the messages and text messages and how they spoke to each other because they had previously been, told about this through the UK trial or through, various places online that has the video like of Johnny at the Sweetser, slamming the cabinet and getting upset. And somebody said, I think it was Emily D. Baker. She's like, well, I mean, if somebody gave me MRSA, I might be a little upset. If I lost my finger and gave me MRSA, I might be a little upset. Kendall, it's so crazy you say that because I freaking see that. And I know, I can see when she sometimes looks at him that it's this weird sexual tension. And that's effed up to say, but I swear they had this exchange in court where they both he finally locked eyes with her. And then she was like, and then she wrote something down. She writes things down for her lawyer. Like, tell him to stop looking at me. Check yes or no if you think he still likes me, Mary. And Mary's like, oh, come on. Really, Amber? And then maybe, is there a maybe, Amber? I'm going to put maybe. So I think there is a little bit of crazy. I think there's part of Johnny too, that just from listening to him, and obviously it goes to like his background with his mother. And we find out that he is now saying, I married my mother. So all the bad things he didn't like about Betty Sue, he started seeing in Amber. And then all the things he confided in Amber, he feels as though she went and used against him or exposed or used as a narrative to make, lies about him, or that same kind of abusive language that his mother spoke to him like she did the same things that he might have been sensitive about, like his age or his coolness, because Johnny Depp, that's part of his marketability, is that he's attractive and he's cool. It's like this young hip guy, but we all get old. Unfortunately, that's the big joke life plays on us. We all get old and lame, but you don't have to. We just have to change societal norms that you get old and you get better. But so far we're just like, stay a fetus forever and then you're cool, but no one can do that, So she regularly, seemed to call him fat and old and stupid. However, Johnny Depp has and some people say it's because he lived in Europe. I don't know about that. He likes to call the ladies the see you next Tuesdays. Okay. So again, Johnny Depp speaks in hyperbole. And he has had a very interesting dynamic with Amber Heard's lawyers in that they're taking things very literally. because he texted his friends like, I got so ripped, roaring, drunk ass last night that I drank 1,000 Red Bulls and had 1,000,000 tequilas, and the monster came out. They speak of this monster that allegedly is what Amber, according to Johnny, called him when he was under the influence, this monster. So her lawyers are trying to paint this picture of him being a monster, but we're also seeing he started using the monster term to label himself even when texting others. So we see that he is kind of taken on that as well. But then they'll go, so Johnny, did you have those 1,000 Red Bulls? You probably were all jacked up on the Red Bull, on the bull. And it's like, oh. And then again, he explains, and his counsel explains, Johnny likes to speak in hyperbole. Johnny's heavily influenced by Hunter S. Thompson. Johnny does it like this. Because he had a text with Marilyn Manson, which was like, hello, old brother, friend, pal. Let us pray and celebrate the madness of our beings and taints. And we will drink pints on our taints for hours. And I'll bring the white stuff and you bring the brown stuff. And it was just, it doesn't make any sense. I imagine getting a text from Johnny Depp. It's like, oh, Johnny Depp. And then you read it and you're like, oh, come on, bro. I got to translate this into old timey English. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. Okay. So we're covering, the case so far is hit on quite a few of like the big ticket items, the, Australia fight, the different times that they were fighting, like when she filmed him slamming the cupboards at Sweetser, a bunch of their voicemails, when he and Sean Penn went to the penthouse to get the things after he had said, we are done, my darling, we will be the destruction of each other and drink each other's blood under the sun that is not on this earth, something like that he would say, like in another life, my dear. And so then he was like, I just wanted to end it. I wanted to end it amicably. I'm sure there were lots of parts of him that were like, people told me this age gap would be a big deal. People warned me. I didn't believe them. I did that cliched Hollywood rich guy thing. And I just thought, no, this will work. And it didn't work. So he goes to get his stuff and he tells Sean Penn and his other friend, who isn't as famous as Sean Penn, he says, stay right here. And if you hear anything, run in, because there could be an altercation. So he goes to the penthouse after the dog do, after the knife incident, after all the stuff. And he's like, Amber wants to talk to him because he's going to file. They're going to file for divorce. They're going to separate. And he's like, I'll go talk to her. Because it's also kids out there. When you break up with someone and you know it's time to break up, you don't have to have that last talk. That last talk is either going to be really shitty, sad sex, or it's going to be one person freaking out on you. So just don't do it. You're done. Just be done. Be done now. So he goes over there and apparently she freaks out. She's on the phone with one of her friends, according to him, wants to embarrass him again and kind of starts teasing him, to which he takes the phone from her and says, you can have her now, Iverson. I think he was talking to Allen Iverson. I don't think it was Allen Iverson. I'm just saying somebody that starts with an I or something. You can have her, throws the phone down. And then someone runs in at this point, a neighbor or something, and says, you leave her alone, Johnny. It's kind of like Cobra Kai. Put him in a body bag, Johnny. And Johnny's like, I didn't do anything. And then she's like, you'll never hit me again, Johnny Depp. And then Sean Penn and them come in and they take his stuff. And it's another altercation in a relationship full of altercations. These two couldn't have been worse for one another. They're just horrific. Oh, Io is the name. Max, you should be telling this story. If this was a story based on facts, I appreciate you, because holy shit, you're coming in clutch, my friend. Clutch, okay? Oh my God. If they called Army Hammer, he would have chewed. Next, I'm gonna, if anyone ever takes Army Hammer to court, we're gonna recap that, because that's some sick ass shit. If you guys don't know the Army Hammer, Google it. And I live out by where he had that little motel that he was playing around with during the Pandakuchen. And I'm like, what was he doing out there? Okay. All right. So, okay. So we have that. I'm trying to think of another big physical altercation. He's leaving. We're skipping around a little bit because this story is bonkers bananas. Johnny Depp says, I don't treat women this way. I don't speak to women this way. Then they pull out text and they're like, well, how about this? Where you said Vanessa was like a monster. See you next Tuesday. And I was like, ooh. And then he's got another text. And I wish I had, you can find all this stuff on Twitter, where he was saying something about burning Amber's body and something about doing something with the corpse. And I was like, that's quite the hyperbole. It was, wow. So, I mean, they bought each other knives. I don't know. I'm not surprised, but definitely not in a healthy relationship if this is the kind of communication we're having. Let's see what else. Here's one of the covers that, obviously he was speaking about his kids having to go to school and answer for these covers, and this op-ed she wrote for the Washington Post. And that's the reason that the defamation trial is in Virginia, because that is where this was published, to which he is claiming defamation. Okay. Yeah, there was quotes in I'm not a big Monty Python. So again, I don't freaking know. If I know John Cleese's daughter's a stand-up comedian, that's all I know about it. And I know his name's John Cleese, and that's it. Okay. So that's probably, he liked dark humor. And again, we're getting so many texts from Amber and Johnny that are they're out of context. And I guess if you read some of my texts, you'll be like, that girl's weird. I mean, but I feel like you've watched me for this long, you realize that I'm pretty weird. Max says, if you read the text that were shown and not read, the burning and drowning was an outrageous interchange where two friends were building off one another. So they were like heightening a scene a la improv. I feel like that's what it was. Mama Drama says, I cringe to all the texts I not only send my husband, but about my husband. Oh no. I'd be doing some time. You better be careful because Dateline will dig that up. I just watched the Pam Hupp story and they will bring it all. They will mention it all. Okay. So yeah, but I think that's what was so important in this case of allowing. It was so strange that Amber's side didn't object because Johnny was just telling all the stories for so long, just kept talking and talking and talking, which I found very interesting. But I was like, wouldn't they object by this point? Be like, objection, relevance, objection. We don't need to know all this. And they didn't. They just let him talk. So basically, he was able to build the case that this is how I talk. And we are seeing that he rambles on and that he's got this, crazy creative mind that is heavily influenced by some interesting characters from literature and music. But it could be a case where, his side is like, yes, we want them to see that this is Johnny. We want them to see that this is how he talks. And then Amber Heard's side might be going, we want them to know that this is how he talks and that this could be very confusing and this could have gotten under Amber's skin and this could be seen as this, that, or the other thing. So it'll be interesting to see as it goes on, as this trial goes on, why each side thought it was the right thing to do to just kind of let Johnny was calling the shots and leading the show in the room. And then the counter came, and I think that's what it's called, when her lawyers, Love Hardbomb or whatever his name is, when he got up, because they all have a team of lawyers, right? And Amber's team, it seemed like when I was watching Emily D. Baker, she was, herself being a former prosecutor. She was like, oh my God, he's doing this all wrong. And, he was starting off so well, being Amber's attorney, Love Boner, we'll call him. Love Boner was doing super good, super well. And he was really hitting them with the counters, which I guess are supposed to be like, did you do this? Were you here, there? But he was doing too much with too many questions, compound questions. Then he was kind of fumbling the bag, if you will, like the kids say on the ticky-tacky. And he was stuttering a little. And then he was like, hey, can we retract this? And I guess I should ask you to retract that. And I don't know. I think this evidence we can listen to between minute 1 and 101, but I'm not sure which one. So it's like, so I feel like he was doing very well. And then he might have been, but again, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. So this might all be a part of the big plan. And all of a sudden we're going to they're going to come out and I'm going to be like, damn. So I can't make my final opinion as a viewer yet. The only opinion I have is this is a cuckoo bananas relationship. They were both extremely toxic for each other. This is just me so far, how I'm feeling. This should be a master class for teenagers of like what not to do in a relationship, love bombing, gaslighting, and abuse. And don't cut each other. That's the point I'm at right now with this case. So, and we're getting a lot of speculation on her outfits. To me, she looks very Annie Hall, but some people feel as though she's even trying to get in his head with the things she wears, which is speculative, but this is a trial for us to watch and make our own speculations and opinions about. And some people think if he wears one thing, the next day she's going to show up very similar, so a three-piece suit. Clear glasses, this, that, or the other thing, So, yes, Fawn John says he was flipping lines so much. I didn't know what year. Yeah, it feels like it should have been more succinct. It feels like her lawyer, love boner, he should have just been, I did watching Emily D. Baker the day before. She was like, "Ooh, this is getting good." And when a lawyer says it's getting good, like a trial lawyer, you're like, okay, yeah, I guess this is getting good, And then he was hitting them with the ones and the twos. And then they're like, we have to break for the day. Don't talk to anybody. Also, how do they regulate that? You can't trust lawyers and you can't trust people nowadays. They're for sure looking at social media. They're for sure leaking information. When Amber's friends got caught in the courtroom, like texting about the trial and got in trouble and kicked out. So, oh my gosh. Yes. 2016 to 2013 to 2015 to 2014, back to 2016, down to 2015, down to 2013. Kind of like how this review has been from me. Just jumping all around because that's really what the case is. Okay, but it's so fascinating. We talked about that earlier. Yes, the star is Amber's ex-assistant. It's like, she wouldn't even pay me $25 an hour. I work for more than that. Yeah, I didn't pay my mortgage. You pay your mortgage, fuckface? Me and my son, she's just a baby. She's a bitch. She's a bitch. In Australia, we call them bitches. Okay. Yeah, she's very interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. So he impeached him multiple times. Jake Hal says this lawyer knows exactly what he's doing and is just getting started. Okay. See, this is why it's too soon to say, but it is just so freaking interesting. Okay, so we talked about the knife. We talked about the poop. We talked about the finger, MDMA. We're doing weed. We're lots of wine. At one time, people speculated he was spending like 30 G's. Was it a year on wine or something? That's allegedly. He definitely is taking care of a lot of people. The assistant, her ex-assistant, is like, she just wanted to be with Johnny Depp. I asked her, who you dating? She said, some old guy. Turns out it's Johnny Depp. She's just using him. Just like she used me for $25 an hour when I'm worth a lot more. Okay, let's see if we have what some of these other screenshots are here. Okay, what's happened let's look at this screenshot. I must have screenshotted it for a reason. What's happened at the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation trial? Johnny Depp is suing ex-wife Amber Heard for defamation, saying she made up allegations of domestic violence to further her own acting career, which resulted in him losing work. Depp is asking for $50 million in damages. Heard filed $100 million counterclaim accusing Depp of regularly abusing her before and during their 15-month marriage. That is the shortest marriage. Depp took the stand on Tuesday, and Heard is expected to do the same. So, I'm excited to see hers as well. But Johnny is far from done, as far as I could tell. I think they still have more. I know there was some other thing. What is this? So Johnny Depp had said that his daughter was not a fan, but then Amber side's like, actually, she was a fan at first, to the point where your daughter Lily Rose texted you, and they tried to hold out those texts from court because it was between him and his daughter. They're like, Your Honor, objection, relevance, and now that he has said that his kids very much did not like her and never did, they're saying, well, she did. And at one time she thought Amber might be, Lily Rose might have allegedly thought that Amber might be good for his sobriety. And as much as Johnny Depp was painting himself to be a father who was always there, and Christy painted it the same way, his sister who became his manager, that he made sure to have their birthdays off, Lily may have indicated that maybe that wasn't the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. So I don't know. I don't know there. I just feel for his kids. So I hate that we even have to bring them up. Here's the text I was talking about, like, let's burn Amber. And, you know, we talked a little bit about that where it's like, ooh. And then there was reference to his ex, Vanessa, who he says he has a really good relationship with. But early on when he was dating Amber, he texted, I believe, Elton John, correct me if I'm wrong, Max, but he said that she was a see you next Tuesday monster or something. Something was see you next Tuesday and that she might be getting in the way. And then we're like, oh, that's too bad. So here is just like a statement that was made. Johnny Depp is a victim of abuse. He has been since Miss Heard made her first false allegation in 2016 and has continued to be the subject of abuse ever since, as outlined in his testimony. Today's cross-examination by Miss Heard's attorney has proven to be no exception. Mr. Rottenborn's, I think we should call him Rottenbottoms, Mr. Rottenboner's aggressive and coincidentally jackhammer approach toward a man who has suffered extensively over the last 6 years proves that the mistreatment of Johnny goes well beyond Miss Heard's grievous behavior. Colorful texts, which Johnny has already apologized for, do not equate to physical actions. And Mr. Rottenbottom, born boner, still has not been able to connect the two or will ever be able to. There was also allegations. So with this whole Johnny trying to get sober from the opiate, the pain medication that he received after an injury during a Pirates movie filming. Just like many people, those things are very addictive. And like we talked about, the withdrawals are horrendous and horrible. So he went to the same doctor that I believe Ozzy Osbourne did, where they replace, so maybe it's like a methadone type thing, but it's multiple medications to try to get you off this opiate. And he went to the island, I believe the Bahamas, to kind of dry out and start getting off of this medication, to which he says was one that wasn't to get high. It just became a point where you need it. And I think anyone that's known anyone with the opiate addiction issues, it so transcends getting high. It's on a level of you just need this drug to not be sick and not feel like you're dying. So that's the level it seems like Johnny Depp was at. And so he goes to go get clean. Amber shows up. Amber says she'll help with him getting clean, but according to Johnny, she was withholding medication that he needed. So in her team, they're saying, well, no, the medication was supposed to be at 4. It wasn't 4 yet. Johnny wanted it sooner. Johnny's saying, as an addict and as, this medication, you can't know for sure when I'm going to need it. So he tried to get it. She wouldn't give it to him. There's also instances where she took video yet again of him when he was allegedly high, making weird noises. There's an incident on a plane that's a couple people say that he did. I think it's like a former assistant, Stephen Deuteronomy or something, where he does something where he might have been acting out. Amber says he was blacked out on that plane. Johnny says I wasn't blacked out. So it's just so much, he said, she said when it comes to that, but it all surrounds some kind of substance or abuse of, even though you can't really get Johnny Depp to agree. The only thing he's agreed he's really struggled with is the painkiller. But other than that, he's like, I've questioned whether I was an alcoholic, stopped drinking for 18 months, not an alcoholic. I would argue that if just because you can stop drinking for 18 months, it doesn't mean you're not an alcoholic. I know lots of alcoholics that take little breaks to prove to themselves they're not alcoholics, and then they go back to being alcoholics again. So it is interesting to watch, having the mind of an addict myself, watching someone else justify this use and knowing that, you know, I am empathetic to the fact that he's used these substances to forget about a lot and a lot of trauma in his life and to self-medicate. And I get that, but I do think that his life would be so much better if he just like took these substances out, because they're not doing him any good. Okay. So yeah, there's an incident on a plane where he did have friends testify. One guy was, I believe he worked with him for like 21 years on multiple movies. He's like the head of sound technician. And he was like, Amber actually snapped at me. Johnny told her not to snap at me, but I've never seen him be aggressive. I've never seen him do this or that. Where Amber's camp's like, he trashed a hotel room with Kate Moss, case closed. And then there was weird audio of him making noises, and she recorded him, and he's like, ah. It's like, honestly, it sounded like someone having really bad diarrhea. So there you go. Yeah. So I don't know. It's disturbing, all the recordings. The recordings are very, very disturbing. Renee says, I didn't drink for 4 years and relapsed. So that is not proof of not being alcoholic. Yes, I do think, from what I've learned, I do think Johnny Depp definitely needs to take a look at at his consumption, because I think a lot of this, if, you know, we've even seen in the trial that family members, Christie's been worried, people have been worried about him. It's not just the painkillers, you know, and I get he's Johnny Depp. He did a movie called Blow. He's going to do Blow, Fear and Loathing. You know what I mean? He's always had this kind of rock star Keith Richards type mentality. But as we get older, we might want to just pull it back. Okay. Okay, saying it takes all 12 people to be convinced there's no way he touched her on day 7. Again, okay, so a timestamp, 6 hours, 5 minutes, and 30 seconds. It was one juror at least down. That's my opinion. What is that? What is that, you guys? Interesting. Oh, did someone mention? I have been watching the Legal Bites stream, Danny. So, and a nurse on Legal Bites stream said that withholding medication during an intense withdrawal symptom could lead to even worse problems. It's common to give it to them when needed. Yes, and I would argue she should have never, Amber, been put in charge of that. Never. He had a nurse that was working with him. He had a doctor that was working with him. Why was she put in charge of that? That is just too much, even kind of for someone who didn't already seemingly hate the guy they were married to. You know? Yeah, Legal Bites is awesome because she gives, so I've been watching a combination of Emily D. Baker and Legal Bites. And Legal Bites channel gives you like a little tasty explaining stuff. And Emily will watch the trial with you, and she's so good. So shout out to both of them. But yeah, it is very interesting. So I think we hit on most of the things I wanted to hit on. You guys have been fantastic and wonderful. And thank you for going on this little comedic ride with me through one of the craziest trials I've ever seen. And I lived through OJ. Okay. But this is like, just like I said, it's interesting because we're not supposed to be hearing this stuff. And that's what makes it so much like more tantalizing, if that's the proper word to use. And we're finding out a lot about Johnny Depp's background, and we're finding out, so much about this toxic, horrendous relationship that I wish they would have never gotten into, because like one of our favorite witnesses said, it hurt a lot of people, not just the two of them. And it continues to be something that neither of them can really move on from, for a while. So there's just like so many screenshots, and when we cover it next week and we go through it, it'll be easier. But this, I just wanted to kind of dive in and give an overview. The overview is Johnny suing Amber, Amber suing Johnny, They're each building their case. Johnny Depp is building the case that I never hurt her, I never hit her. This is defamation. She is out there making people believe I lost opportunities. He has to prove that he lost money and all these things in order to win. I don't know who will win this case. I think right now, like I said, in the court of public opinion, Johnny Depp is winning. I see a majority of people who are like justice for Johnny Depp and much less for Amber Heard. And I think early on, it was very pro Amber Heard. And people wanted to, believe her because we were coming out of Me Too. And, for the most part, the sad thing is if Amber Heard is in fact completely fabricating this stuff, I mean, they're both very toxic for each other, but she's completely fabricating that. This does so much bad for real victims of domestic violence and women, because we know men can be victims just as much as women, but there's already this whole, group out there who don't want to believe women, period. And so to have this come out, this is something that population of misandry folks are going to run with, and she will be the poster child. And those of us that actually, have real valid claims will only suffer because of it. But unfortunately, there is always going to be in everything some people who lie. But I will argue that is the minority of times, and that most women and men would never want to be go through all of this just to hurt someone. So if that is what's happening, I did see that there's a lot of triggering things. It is very, very interesting. Thank you guys. Thank you. And I just don't think Johnny cares if he wins. I think Fawn's right. He just wants to tell his side. From the minute it started, he said, all I care about is the truth. I care about the truth. And I feel as though he feels like everything's been taken from him. And in his words, he was silenced by, even his lawyers early on. Don't say anything, hoping it would go away. It didn't. So now if he doesn't, win the money, I don't think he cares. I think he just wants people to see what this really was, and that this wasn't this one-sided, I'm abusing this woman, according to him. This was a very toxic relationship with someone who was possibly abusing him and gaslighting him. I mean, he said he started recording. That was one of the things, because he felt as though he was being gaslit by her. And that she'd say, well, that never happened. This didn't happen. That didn't do, so it's just very interesting. It's very, very, very interesting. Okay. We try to make even the craziest things funny over here and just find the funny, but also realize that, we do gotta respect that, this is really, it can be a lot. It can be very, overwhelming. So anyways, you guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much to all 600 plus of you. I think we hit over 700 at one point. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for your thoughts and opinions. Thank you for not fighting with each other. I wasn't able to look at the chat a ton, but I also noticed that everyone was being respectful to each other every time I looked over. And I do appreciate that, because that's all we can do. Everyone's going to come out of this with their own opinions. We all come to it with our own biases and things that happen to us. We take into it. But in the end, we're all allowed to have our own feelings on it, and we still don't have to attack each other unless that's your kink. All right. So starting next week, when the trial starts back up, I'll try to get these out daily, so they're a little more in smaller bites, because we're at the 2-hour mark. And my Amber, not Amber Heard, my Amber Preston, I have to go be a better hostess. So you guys have a wonderful night. Don't forget to smash that like if you haven't already. Shout out to my mods for all of your hard work. Please comment after this video is posted, because I did not get to get through all of your wonderful comments. Let me know what you think. What your thoughts on it are, or what the funny shit that you saw was, okay? And I'll talk to you guys very soon. And just remember to enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Bye. Oh, follow me on social media at Joleen Lunzer. Bye. If you like what you see,